Hello and welcome to another Piano Pandemictivities video. We're continuing our series on things I wish I had known. Today, I wish I had known that music is a business, and that even while deep in the throes of learning how to play the piano and learning music history and theory and just shutting oneself away in the wonderful world of music, I had started to think a little earlier about the fact that it is a business. And there are certain laws of business, economic laws, if you will, that determine things that will work and things that will not work. And the most basic economic law or business law for people who want to be full-time professional musicians is simply, what will people pay you for? For what purpose musically will people open their wallets and some money will come to them, to you? That's what it means to be a professional, is that this is your job and it puts a hamburger on your plate. So I think it's very simple, because I am willing to pay people to do things that I want to see done, but I either cannot do them myself or I don't want to do them myself. So, for example, every Tuesday morning, I want to see a trash can full of garbage disappear. I don't want to dump it in my yard. I don't want to set it on fire in the backyard. I want it to vanish. Now, do I know how to drive garbage? Yes, I do know actually how to drive garbage. I've done it before. But I don't want to drive garbage. And so I pay a man who I never see. He comes at 4 o'clock in the morning. I pay a man to drive up in a truck and take this garbage and go away. And that works perfectly fine for me. I'm very happy with that arrangement. And I'll keep paying him. I could do it if I wanted to. I know how to drive garbage, but I don't want to drive garbage. Therefore, he can have a profession. So I'll pay for things if I don't want to do them. I will also pay for things I can't do. So if you take one of many possible examples, I can't take x-rays of my own teeth. I don't know how to do it. Actually, when I was a kid, I had a job in a dentist's office. I actually did take x-rays, so I used to know how to do it. But that was a long time ago, and it's not legal. So I cannot do it, but I want it done, not because it's so much fun or anything, but just it's necessary to stay healthy, to do this from time to time. And so I pay Dr. Jerry to take x-rays. Okay? I want it done. I cannot do it. And these are the only two reasons that people will pay you anything. They want something done. They could do it, but they don't want to, or they cannot do it. Now, musically, how does that work out? What things do people want to see done and they either can't do it or they won't do it? Many years ago, you could say, well, everybody wants to hear music and they can't play themselves, so of course they have to buy a ticket and come to the concert hall. But technology has changed that, and now you can have all the music you want for almost no money. And so that kind of is no longer the case. It's much more complicated to think about performing. How many people want someone to play all their favorite easy pieces, like the slow movement of the Pathétique Sonata and the first movement of the Moonlight Sonata and Clair de Lune and other things that are not too difficult? How many people desperately want these to be played for them live and cannot do it or will not do it themselves? The answer is not very many people want you to do that and need you to do that for them. So playing easy music for adoring crowds is just not a viable career path. Mostly what people want and need is in the area of teaching. That's the vast majority of where professional income is earned. They either want someone in the schools or private lessons or religious music, directing choirs, that kind of stuff. That's where the vast majority of employment is, in filling those positions. It's something they want done that they either cannot or will not do themselves. So when I meet musicians who are averse to teaching, just kind of on principle, they just, it's boring, I'm not interested in that, I just want to be on the stage. I think immediately, well, you've just blocked out 90% of your potential to make a living. You know, it's now most of the way you could have made a living is gone from your mind if you're unwilling to teach. And I had some of this attitude when I was an undergrad. I don't know where I picked it up. I'm sure I just sort of breathed it in the air at the school I went to. The performers were the cool people, and the pedagogy people were those who couldn't quite deal with performing. And so there was kind of social pressure to think of oneself as a performer and not a teacher. We were not even encouraged to know the names of the music education faculty or the pedagogy faculty. You know, everyone just respected the performance faculty. Of course, this is a huge tragedy, and it's one of the things that school did wrong during my time. And what happened to me is I stumbled into teaching almost against my will. Here's what happened. I knew all these other students. I was an undergrad, so we had also master's and doctoral students. So a lot of people older and way better than me. And somehow, I don't remember how, this thing started where people would ask me to sit in the practice room and they would try out a piece for me and just get a few comments. And I enjoyed it, and it was, of course, very flattering. Sometimes even the doctoral students would say, oh, let me, I have this cadenza I want to try, and you listen and you tell me if it's good. And I truly enjoyed that. And then one day somebody said to me, hey, the word around here is that you're the guy to play for. You're really the one. You'll give good feedback, constructive stuff. And I was shocked. And I realized with horror that I was getting a reputation as a teacher. And I thought, oh no, I don't want to be, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be cool. I want to be a fighter pilot performer. But it didn't take long, and I changed my attitude and changed my heart about that, and I grew to love teaching, and so it's, of course, a huge part of my career now. And as it turns out, it is something people want done that they cannot do themselves. So anyway, there's a chart, things that people want done that they don't want to do or cannot do. And you have to think through, what is it that you can do that people want done that they can't do or don't want to do? All right? So the next and the only other point I want to make today, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a guitarist, and his wife was doing a photography business, like weddings and stuff. And he said, we've noticed in the photography business, there are the really great artistic photographers, technically great, but they have a great eye for composition and color and everything on the one side. And then on the other side, you have the people who are adequate photographers, but they're really, really great at business. The business-minded ones always win. They beat the artistic ones every single time. And he said, I think the same thing is true in music. And I thought, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You have your business skills and you have your music skills. And if you're good at the music skills and bad at the business skills, it will not save you. It really won't help you. If you're adequate, if you're okay at music and really great at business, you'll actually do pretty well. Now, ideally, you want to be great at both if you can. But the hard, cold truth is that the business skills beat the music skills every time. And it took me a long time to accept that because, again, I came from these schools where artistry was idealized. Nothing else matters. Everything else is beneath you and not worth your time. Only, be an artist and somehow it'll work out. It's actually not true. It's actually not true. You do need to think like a business person. And the business person always remembers, what do I have that I can offer that people want to see done, but they cannot do it themselves or they do not want to do it themselves? That is where I can build my profession. We'll talk again soon. See you later.